polls in the US are due to open by the end of the day, Australian time, as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris blitz those swing states in an election that's widely expected to go right down to the wire. Former President Trump, he's spending the final day of his campaign across three battleground states: North Carolina, Pennsylvania and Michigan.
Meanwhile, his Democratic opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, is spending the whole day in Pennsylvania, which will end with a late-night rally alongside special guests Lady Gaga and Oprah Winfrey. Well, let's go straight back to Michael, who is in Washington for us this morning. Looking lovely. What a backdrop you've got there, Michael.
It's pretty special, isn't it? The US Capitol building, and actually it's worth mentioning what's easily forgotten is that control of Congress is also up for grabs on US election day. Sure, the focus is on the presidential race, but whoever wins Congress, that will have great consequences for whoever's sitting in the White House down the road here. So interesting various battles in the Senate and the House going on behind me on election day. But yes, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are spending the final hours of this election campaign making their final appeals to voters. That small number of voters that have not made up their minds as to who to vote for. They have been blitzing those battleground states as we go to where Donald Trump is speaking in Pennsylvania, probably the most important of those battleground states. It has the richest haul of electoral college votes, 19 votes in all, and he is there at the moment. Kamala Harris is spending her entire day in Pennsylvania, 5 rallies all up, culminating in an appearance late tonight with a range of celebrities as she tries to get Americans to vote for her and send her to the Oval Office for the next 4 years. Different styles, different contrasting appeals from both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has been projecting what she sees as a vision for the future for America. She is talking about her own policies. Interestingly, for the first time since she was nominated as the Democratic Party nominee a few months ago, she did not mention Donald Trump once in a rally at Michigan last night, which was instructive because railing against Donald Trump, attacking him, has been one of her key campaign points up until now, and the fact that she's decided now not to mention him could be interesting in terms of how they see this contest going. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is veering off increasingly on those rambling tangents we know him for, and his rhetoric as well is becoming rather dark and even more violent as election day nears. Let's hear now from both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
Actually, you know, they have an expression, I hate the expression actually, but it's ours to lose. Does that make sense to you? It's ours to lose. If we get everybody out and vote, there's not a thing they can do. And if we don't, they have to get every person that ever signed anything in that horrendously dangerous party that's going to destroy our country. And it already is destroying our country. We just can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen. So here's my only purpose in even being here today. Get out and vote. You know that.
And let us remember that your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power. And you are powerful, and you remember that. So today, Michigan, I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard?
Kamala Harris v Donald Trump, it is just about over. Now, whether the Americans are voting for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, the overwhelming vibe that I'm picking up, certainly in Pennsylvania over the weekend and certainly here in Washington, is that people are just fed up with the election campaign. They are just wanting it to end and wanting a result either way tomorrow. But they'll have to endure a few more hours of campaigning yet before Americans go to the ballot boxes tomorrow our time and decide who will be the 47th President of the United States.
All right, thank you for that, Michael. Yeah, I hope they're prepared for a long count. That could take some time, I'm sure you'll be ready. Catherine, are you ready?
Michael's always ready, James. He's always ready.
Gosh, we're lucky to have him over there, aren't we?
We're very lucky.
And join us tomorrow for a special edition of News Breakfast. We're going to be live around the nation from 5 a.m. So if you're really into US politics, set your alarm.
Set your alarm, absolutely.
And
do
you
not
set
miss
your
it.
alarm after the Melbourne Cup
I'll set 3.
to make sure that you're here. Otherwise,
You
it'd be on
said
my
3.
own. Now, to other news, and a spring heatwave is bearing down across much of Australia this week, with temperatures soaring above 40 degrees in parts. Reporter Jemima Bird joins us now from the Sunshine State capital. Pretty sure that's Brisbane. Jemima, what's the outlook for today and the rest of the week?
Good morning, James. Well, it's 7 o'clock or just after here in Queensland, and it's already 22 degrees, and my weather app tells me it actually feels like 25, which feels accurate. And that's actually a similar picture across most of northern Australia. The Bureau of Meteorology's issued severe heatwave warnings for parts of Western Australia, the Northern Territory and Queensland as a hot air mass moves from across Central Australia into Queensland in the next few days, and they're expecting extreme heat waves. They're expecting to issue extreme heatwave warnings there in the next few days. Mount Isa today is looking in the mid-40s, same with Alice Springs. So things are only expected to get hotter as the week goes on, and the advice, as usual, is try and stay out of the sun, stay hydrated.
Yeah, that is good advice. So thank you for that, Jemima.
OK, a truck driver has been charged over a crash that claimed the lives of 2 women in South Australia's Florio Peninsula. 7 others, including 2 children, were injured in the crash at Wattle Flat yesterday. A 35-year-old man is facing 2 counts of causing death by dangerous driving, as well as other offences.
At least 10 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes in Gaza as the UN agency responsible for supporting Palestinian refugees warns of the collapse of humanitarian work in the enclave. Earlier, Israel gave formal notification it is cutting ties with UNRWA following a vote in the Israeli parliament last week. Elsewhere, the IDF claims to have killed a Hezbollah commander in southern Lebanon, while Syria is accusing Israel of targeting civilian sites south of the capital, Damascus.
Police are investigating the shooting of a man in Melbourne's southeast last night. The man was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries after he was found with a gunshot wound on a street in Frankston at about 7:30. Investigators don't believe the incident is gang-related or linked to a fatal shooting in North Melbourne at the weekend.
Australian federal police officers will return to consulting giant PWC's Sydney headquarters as they investigate whether secrecy laws were broken. Detectives examined documents and computer files at the Barangaroo office yesterday under an arranged visit. They're looking into whether federal laws were broken when a former partner of the firm allegedly disclosed confidential information about government tax rule changes to clients and others at the firm. The ABC understands the investigation is focused on 4 PWC partners who have since left the firm.
Musicians around the world have paid tribute to legendary music producer Quincy Jones, who has died at the age of 91. Jones won 28 Grammy Awards and worked with music greats like Ray Charles, Frank Sinatra and Michael Jackson, producing the biggest-selling album in history, Thriller, and overseeing the recording of a charity record, We Are the World. He also made his mark away from music, producing film, TV, theatre projects from The Colour Purple to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.